Elias, there's the dummy. It will be the taste of ride tonight. Langmack looking dangerous from the break. Greg Alexander receiving the cup. Yes! Yes! There it is. Up goes the cup. The one-on-one, and he got the plate. Oh, yes! Absolutely swell with pride. There it is, the cup school supremacy in Australia.
Here's the try, is it? Yes, it is! Fortune favours the brave.
Welcome to the Parramatta Stadium for this Commonwealth Bank Cup clash, James Cook Boys High School up against St Gregory's College of Campbelltown. This is in fact our first quarter-final. These two schools are playing for a spot in a semi-final and ultimately the chance of playing on Cup final night when there are some wonderful prizes up for grabs.
For our player of the series, Adidas will provide the complete sportsman's outfit. From playing to training gear, as well as a full range of leisure wear, Adidas remain the #1 choice of champions like Peter Sterling and Paul Langmack. And from NEC, our cup winners in '89 will receive $5,000 worth of fabulous electrical equipment for their school. From televisions to video recorders through to full sound systems, NEC provides an extensive entertainment range. Of course, the runners-up in '89 don't go away empty-handed. They also receive from NEC $3,000 worth of product.
Yes, some great prizes there, and just maybe one of these two schools will take a share of them. Now, joining me tonight, as usual, is the New South Wales and Balmain captain, Wayne Pearce. Wayne, once again, the muddy field looks like playing a part in the outcome.
It does. These schools have had plenty of practice in that under those conditions this year, and I'm sure that'll come in handy tonight.
Well, we have seen James Cook on television before. What are your impressions of them?
They're a very strong all-round side. They've got several key attacking players, and their centre pairing in particular, Ron Williams and Murray Hoper, are key players. They've got a strong runner in Steve Henderson, the second rower, so they'll be difficult to contain.
What about St Gregory's, who we haven't seen?
Well, they won the recent Tamworth knockout where they defeated Patrician Brothers Fairfield, whom we have seen, and they had a strong win on television a couple of weeks ago. So if form is any guide, they'll be tough to beat.
There you have it, and in spite of the muddy conditions, I think we'll still see a very exciting and open game of football. Let's go straight to the kick-off and all of the action. James Cook up against St Gregory's College. And so all in readiness now for our first Commonwealth Bank Cup quarter-final. The man in charge, our referee, Mr Tony Kelly. And it'll be St Gregory's College of Campbelltown to kick off through their 5'8", Jason Taylor.
I believe this will be somewhat of a contrast, Billy, the big forwards for St Gregory's versus the commanding back line of James Cook as the kickoff's underway.
Okay, and the ball taken there by the #2 for James Cook, John Lukudis. We've had a lot of rain in Sydney over the last couple of weeks. Fortunately, we've been blessed with fine weather here today. The Parramatta Stadium's had no water on it since yesterday, but still a very muddy surface. Rare to Henderson. Henderson, by the way, an under-21 player for St George, and he's got plenty of ability, and James Cook will be looking for him to lead the charges up front tonight. Kick downfield, but this time straight to Russell Wire, the fullback for St Greg's. He makes ground down the left-hand side of the field. That was a fairly ordinary defensive line, Wayne.
They won't want to give him too much room to move. He's actually a decathlete for St Gregory's, and he's got plenty of pace, so they want to make sure that their kicking game, kick and chase game's a lot better than that.
Well, he didn't have much trouble there, skipping around a fairly ordinary chase, and that's going to be a penalty to St Greg's. Referee Tony Kelly didn't miss it. There was a punch thrown in the play the ball. So comes the caution, followed by the penalty.
Be interesting to see what set plays St Gregory's have from this point on the field. They're a side that I believe will work to positions on the field and then possibly hit back to the blind side through some set plays. We'll have to wait and see what form that takes.
Wayne, I think they'll both be very well coached sides. Anyhow, St Gregory's to take the tap some 15 metres out from the James Cook line. And as Wayne suggested, a set play, ghosting across the field, picks up Tierney, turns the ball back. Taylor pulled down on the quarter line. McEntee onto Bell. Bell off the right foot, but there's no room there. Free again. Ball goes the same way to Taylor off the right foot, but he comes to a dead halt. Smith McPhee again, this time for his back line. Bell to Taylor. Taylor on to Grosvenor. Grosvenor was to hold the pass up there for Russell Wire to the fullback, just a little late in coming. Back to Taylor again, puts through the grubber kick. And it's a good kick, but they're unable to hold James Cook in goal. James Cook bring the ball back into the field of play, and that takes a lot of pressure off.
It certainly does, and it was good covering there by the front rower, Richard Nagy. He got back, anticipated that kick on the last tackle, and basically did a halfback or lock forwards covering role. Good clean-up and tidy work.
Wayne, when you look at the credentials of both these sides, there shouldn't be much in it. It's going to be one of those games. I think there'll be a fair bit of ball movement, but we so often find in Commonwealth Bank Cup football, it's just the one lapse in concentration and it's curtains.
Exactly, and particularly this stage of the competition, it comes down to two things. Well, it always comes down to enthusiasm, but in addition to that, it comes down to tactics. And if teams can play good field position through a good kick and chase game and minimise their errors, and as you say, capitalise on their opportunities, then they've got to be a strong chance, provided they've got some skilled players, and both these sides have undoubtedly got skilled players.
Well, we saw Russell Wire there, the St Greg's fullback, bring the ball back, and he certainly is going to prove a handful. McEntee looping around, the ball goes on to Sanderson. Sanderson makes a good break down the left-hand side of the field. He's able to beat one tackle, beats two. He's almost there, pulled out inches short of the line.
That's a try.
No, it's a try. Referee Tony Kelly, no hesitation in blowing the whistle. This was a try, really, that came out of nothing. The ball was shifted along the St Gregory's back line. It went through Bell onto Taylor, and then it was simply a standing in a tackle there by James Smith. He got the ball back to McEntee. McEntee back onto Sanderson. Now look at this fellow move. Firstly off the left foot, skipped out of one tackle, came back and beat some fairly flimsy defence. I thought he was stopped short, but no, he was able to get the ball down.
Well, James Smith can claim credit for this try. He hit the ball up very hard, kept the ball alive by pivoting, and McEntee, a very busy player, as he has shown us in this first 5 minutes, comes on the run around, offloads the ball out wide, and doesn't Sanderson move. He shows plenty of pace, a little sidestep here as well, and he eludes, what, 3, 2, 3, 4, and 5, including the last line of defence there. Locutus, and over for a try, a great try.
So 4 points to nil in favour of St Gregory's College, with a conversion to come. The touch judges like it. It's now 6 points to nil in favour of St Gregory's College over James.
If you run out of food.
Oh, and there's a good break by the number 2. That's John Minnow downfield, looking for support inside, and only a desperate tackle from behind by Joe Matthews was able to hold him. St Gregory's now looking to stretch the ball through Taylor. The little kick ahead by Grosvenor. It was touched by a James Cook player, but he didn't play at the ball, and so the tackle count won't restart again. Brent Smith going forward. McEntee to dummy half. Hits it out the open side. Taylor onto Smith, lurking wide. Wild into the line. Gets the pass back onto the halfback, Gavin Bell. But Bell's dragged down some 28 metres out from the line on the last tackle. Will it be the kick, or will we have some variety? It's the little kick over the top. That was a kick that was going nowhere. It didn't have enough height, didn't have sufficient time to get there, and now James Cook gets some relief.
Well, I believe that's the first time that St Gregory's have deviated from their game plan. There was a little kick by Jason Taylor for himself. Up until now, they've played very much as a team, played for position on the field, and they deviated from their plan just then, and as a result, James Cook have got the opportunity to work the ball back upfield.
Wayne, in Wagga last week, we saw Bateman's Bay playing against Forbes. You weren't at that match, but Bateman's Bay showed a lot of variety on the last tackle. They didn't just kick the ball, they often spread the ball, they often turned it back inside with a lot of success.
Well, that is a ploy, in fact, that a lot of the first-grade sides use nowadays as well, because most teams expect to kick on the last tackle, or expect the opposition to kick on the last tackle, and as a result, the defence tends to slacken off, and a run the ball, or attempt to run the ball on the last tackle often results in a great gain of yardage upfield.
And Brent Smith losing the ball, picked up there by James Cook. This is always a good chance to spread it if you're organised, but their backs just aren't quite ready. A little bit flat. Ron Williams, the centre, in trying to hit the ball up. Play the ball back to Rare. He looks out of dummy half. Not much doing there. Turns the ball back inside. That's a bit more enterprising. James Cook need to look for support runners. The ball comes to Henderson, standing flat. They've got to get deeper. They've got to have some wind-up time to make it more difficult for the defence to pick them off. Henderson plays the ball. Back it goes to Luca for the kick. Puts his boot to it towards the wing of Threcold again, who made the mistake last time, but it's Grosvenor who fields the ball.
That's a much better chase downfield, Billy. They've got them pinned just outside their quarter. Now it's a matter if they can follow that good tackle up with a set of 5 tackles and put pressure on St Gregory's, which they haven't experienced so far in this game.
St Gregory's just aren't making a lot of mistakes, but are they? We've seen 1 or 2 handling for errors from them, but most of as I talk, a good break here by the 5'8" Taylor, off the right foot firstly, then the right foot again. He hasn't been held. He stands in the tackle, waiting for support to come, but it couldn't get there. Plays the ball to McEntee. McEntee to Grosvenor. Onto Smith. Oh, Smith gets the ball back onto his winger there. That's John Middow. No room to work in and drag towards the touchline. Now the forwards turn. Quinn takes the ball up. That's a famous name. Paul Quinn takes the ball forward. Last tackle signalled by the referee. Kelly, a poor pass out of dummy half. Can they tidy it up? That'll be the turnover.
It's interesting in situations like this, Bill, because what often happens in a turnover in centre field, there's the opportunity to spread the ball straight away to the flanks, which can result in a lot of yardage upfield, but as is the case with James Cook here at the moment, they aren't aware of that situation, and as a result they've got no players out wide to spread the ball to.
Of course, Wayne, the reason for that being the fact that one team's had the ball, most of their players have been around it, and when they've got to forfeit it, their defences aren't marshalled, so that's always a good time to shift the ball and look for attacking opportunities. The kick downfield to Wire again wasn't a bad kick, but it was a little ill-directed, and he was able to catch it on the full and continue running and make yardage. Slips the pass this time onto Grosvenor. Grosvenor looks to skirt the defence, and he's dragged down from behind. Threcold, the winger, down the short side. Plays the ball halfway between the James Cook quarter line and halfway. Joe Matthews, tall, long striding player. Bell, Taylor. Taylor out to Smith, who's been lurking wide all game. Oh, the ball dropped there by John Middow. The classic case of taking your eye off the ball right at the crucial moment. He had space, he had green grass in front of him, time to work with, but couldn't do it. There's our scoreline, 6 points to 0. St Gregory's College leading James Cook. "15 minutes into the first half. Tony Luca to feed this scrum.
It's interesting, Bill, to note that Tony Luca and Grant Hardy are changing the role of feeding the scrum. Obviously, they've got some set plays to put on at set points on the field, and as a result, they interchange.
Wayne, I'm sure you'd agree that schoolboy football, or should I say the coaching of schoolboy football, in the last 3 or 4 years has had a real revolution where the coaches now are aware of what some first-grade coaches are doing. They're prepared to listen to other people and to put those ideas into operation and into action.
I think that has something to do with the New South Wales Rugby Leagues as the break's made by Jason Hardy.
There's good break there by Hardy. Slipped the ball back onto his winger. The number 5 there, Eddie Zarutis. Zarutis couldn't come up with the ball, and so we'll have a scrum 40 metres out from the James Cook line. It was Grant Hardy, the player, slipped, just couldn't hold on the ball, slipped out of his grasp. It went begging, and it was a real try-scoring opportunity.
Yes, as I was saying, Bill, the New South Wales Rugby League now requires a certificate for coaches to be able to handle junior rugby league sides, and as a result of that, I think there's some coordinated ideas on coaching, and also there's a lot of great ideas filtering back through the junior ranks, because a lot of coaches at senior school sides are in fact involved with great teams.
Yes, we tip our lid to Peter Corcoran, Paul Broughton, and all the people involved with the development of rugby league right throughout Australia. McEntee to dummy half. They come down this side through Taylor, who's a very good ball player. Dummies, finds a break, just got in behind them. The gap opened, then it closed. Middow. Tempted field goal there by the hooker, Barry McEntee, and I don't think I've ever seen one go straighter.
Great kick, that one. Excellent kick. It was a kick that was looked to me to be fairly spontaneous. He saw the defence not moving up to him, timed it to perfection. There was a little bit of mud on the ground under his foot, but he didn't lose his footing, and it was a great kick. Full compliments to him.
Well, believe me, kicking any ball from that distance is a problem, but with this all-weather ball, it can be even harder. That takes the scoreline now. St Gregory 7, James Cook 0. Tierney brings the ball forward. Met with some enthusiastic defence. That's a bit keener by James Cook as they this time drive Joe Matthews backwards. McEntee on the run around. Now they've got options both sides of the field. The butterfly effect with both back lines fanned either way. They elect Taylor. I think he's their first option. Wire into the line, hitting the space with support. He's got Taylor back on the inside. He's not going to need him as he sets sail for the try line and scores adjacent to the goalposts. Well, this fellow's been impressive every time he's handled the ball. Look at Taylor there, put the ball perfectly into a space. It was Russell Wire coming onto it flat out, hit the ball. Hardy came across in cover defence. He was never going to get him. A great combination try.
James Cook's defence was staggered on this blind side, and Jason Taylor spotted it straight away, fired a pass out. There was shades of Wally Lewis there, and it was left to Russell Wire to do the rest. This guy's got plenty of pace, he's got plenty of size, and he's got plenty of ability. He's going to go a long way in this game as well.
He certainly is. Fullback Russell Wire, a four-pointer and an important one. And a little coaching tip there for fullback Jason Hardy. Came across a bit too early, gave Wire the option of coming inside and outside. I think he should have let Wire head for the corner post, and then he could have only gone the one way. Anyhow, an attempted conversion here by Jason Taylor. He's kicked one goal from one attempt. He's got it measured off now. A picture of concentration. In he comes. The touch judges like it. It's now 13 points to 0. St Gregory's College of Campbelltown over James Cook High. James Cook to restart play. Little man Taylor does it again. My word, he's got all of the skills. I think he would be a player, Wayne, that any grade club would be looking at. I think he's a player on what he's shown tonight that could almost go straight into under-21 football.
As you said, Bill, he seems to have plenty of time to put his plays on, and that's a good sign of a good player. And at this level of football, admittedly, it's not as tough as grade football, but the players are as enthusiastic and don't normally give you that sort of time.
Well, you can teach, as a coach, you can teach players a lot of things. You can teach them to tackle and to kick and to pass, but that overall field awareness, that sense of what to do, that nous on a rugby league field is probably the most difficult thing to teach, and he's got it. 5 minutes to go. We're down to the last 5 minutes. Can James Cook get points on the scoreboard to give themselves that little lift before half-time? 13 points to 0. They're looking down the barrel. They have got to score next. They work the ball now out towards their quarter line. Rara fakes to Henderson, brings it back on the short side to Sam Caylor. Rara to dummy half again. Back for the kick. There it is. This one's going to make Wire do a little bit more work. On the bounce, he fields it. This big, strong, hard-running fullback brings the ball back over halfway. He's lost it. Sam Cahill, the captain, gets the pass back on there to his winger, Lakutis. Lakutis down the touchline. Has he got the pace to go on with it? No, he hasn't. Hitting a good cover defensive tackle there by Craig Sanderson. Some of the supporters getting a little bit excited there as John Lakutis made tracks down the left-hand side of the field. He never really seemed to get into stride. He beat the first tackle, but Sanderson, the centre for St Greg's, came across in cover defence, had him lined up and forced him over the touchline. Oh, there's a handy one for James Cook. A scrum against the head. 4 minutes to go before half-time. James Cook now attacking 20 metres out from St Gregory's line. Can they set for something? From up in our high vantage point here in the stand, we can see that James Cook back line still not deep enough. Too flat, not giving himself enough wind-up time to come onto the ball. Rara out of dummy half, picks up Alex Cahill, the captain. Along the back line, Steve Henderson knocks the ball on. Referee Tony Kelly blows the whistle for the scrum. And again, a mistake by James Cook caused by players not standing deep enough and running onto the football, and also running across field, Wayne, running with the pass rather than onto it.
They were running across field, but full marks there to the St Gregory's defence. Out wide, they were moving up very quickly, putting pressure on the attack, and as a result, a fumble developed But I've got to say I think I've put my foot in my mouth earlier on in this match when I tipped the James Cook backs to be a little pacey for the St Gregory's backs, but the opposite situation has developed. St Gregory's have really cut up James Cook out wide in addition to dominating around the rucks, and they're a very strong all-round side.
Well, that's a good strong tackle by James Cook. That's the sort of defence that they should have been producing earlier in this game. The clearing kick downfield by Taylor to Lakutis wing, fielded by Jason Hardy. Hardy takes on Minto, but he's ankle tapped and pulled down just outside his own quarter. Hardy to Williams. Not much room to move there. He comes to a dead end. Back to Rare again. This time it's on to Nagy. They go to their back line through Hardy, but again, not deep enough. A quick moving St Gregory's defence able to come up, put pressure on and force the error. Wayne, I think it'd be just about curtains if St Gregory's could come up with another score in this last couple of minutes.
That would be the end of the game, I think. Obviously, the players are going to get a rev up at half-time, and I'm sure one of the factors that their coach will be pointing out is that they've got to have support players when they go forward. They're going forward, one out, and as a result, there's a scrum win against the head, which is very valuable for James Cook.
And here's a chance now as James Cook looked to spread the ball wide. Went to Ron Williams onto Murray Hoper. Hoper pulled down just over the halfway line. We're into the last 60 seconds. What can James Cook do? Cahill stands in a tackle, looks to offload, but he's pulled down. Henderson a dummy half. Sam Cahill. They might have to resort to the kick. Back to Alex Cahill again, nothing on here. They're just not reading what side to push the ball. They're taking it to the ball to the side where defence is strongest. Luca puts a kick in. That's gone over the touchline on the full. On the fifth tackle, not the last tackle. Consequently, it'll be the scrum with James Cook to feed and have the loose head. The dying seconds of this first half. Gavin Bell to put the ball in. Referee Tony Kelly blows half-time. Both teams troop off the field. I'm sure the coaches will relish the opportunity to talk to their charges. St Gregory's College 13 leading James Cook High 0. This second half, James Cook now looking down the barrel of a 13-0 deficit. Wayne, what can they do to get out of it in this second 30 minutes?
Well, they've got to, as I've been saying right through the first half, they've got to support each other a lot more. They've got to be more enthusiastic in defence. They're not moving up, meeting the bigger St Gregory's forwards in particular. And the way they've approached those first two tackles, I think they've got the instructions off the coach and they're going to apply them.
OK, St Greg's working the ball out through Joe Matthews. Misses Brent Smith and picks up James Smith. Now back for the clearing kick. They're certainly not going to take any chances. They don't want to play the game down in their own half of the field, and a good chase now by St Greg's. Makes contact with John Lakutis some 30 metres out from his own line. Stavankovic to dummy half. Onto Alex Cahill. Just doesn't seem to be any room through the forwards. James Cook have taken them on there on occasions. They've made a couple of half splits. The passes haven't gone to hand, but to my mind, St Greg's always have had the defences there just to tidy it up.
They're a great defensive outfit right across the field. A couple of times James Cook have attacked them out wide, but they haven't had any depth in their attack, as is the case right at this very moment, and they've been forced back infield, as was the case with their 5'8", Grant Hardy.
Well, Grant Hardy looked for support then, Wayne. The centres had overrun him. He had to step back infield. There was nowhere to go there. And now, on the last tackle, they didn't make a lot of yardage, put in a good kick to wire, and he brings the ball back now. Goes round one, round two. He's made a bust, slips, gets to his feet again, but couldn't quite get his balance back, and is dragged down 30 metres out. Well, St Greg's have got everything in their favour. They've got the scoreboard, they've got the clock. The longer this game goes and they can keep James Cook without scoring the greater, of course, their chances are of moving on to the next stage, the semi-finals of the Commonwealth Bank Cup. James Cook had a lot of tradition in this competition. They got through to a semi-final back in 1982 or 3. St Greg's, of course, second only to Patrician Brothers Fairfield in the number of cups won. On to Taylor. Good ball out over the top there. Knocked on by Sanderson. He was in a space. Once again, we saw that good long pass by Taylor. Selected his man well. A good cut-out pass. Sanderson was in a hole. Didn't have anyone in front of him. Cahill was coming across in cover defence. I doubt if he could have got there.
And that error was on the 5th tackle, or the last tackle, so as a result, it was a turnover, and James Cook's now in possession, Bill.
There's James Cook playing the ball on halfway. Luca to Henderson. Henderson stands, gets it back to Luca on the run around. Now this is a bit more enterprising. On to Murray Hoper, a second rower, playing in the centres tonight, replacing Kurt Landers. Back down the short side, nothing on here, boys.
You could throw a blanket over the James Cook side. If you have a look at them now, there's about 11, 12 of the players on this half of the field.
Wayne, they're just playing like a beaten side, and the only way that they can lift their stocks is if someone...
That was a good tackle, that one.
Well, that did drive him backwards.
George Stevanovic there.
Someone needs to take the initiative for James Cook, take the bit between their teeth and say, well, I'm going to do something. Brent Smith. Big, strong front row forward. Back to Barry McEntee. Picks up his other front row forward, Jason Tierney.
He's worked hard all night, Jason Tierney. He's a rugged tight head prop in the Rod Morris role, though.
Built a bit like you were as a schoolboy.
I've lost a bit of weight since then, Billy.
Back to Taylor. Down towards Alex. Eddie Zarudis, Fast Eddie is the nickname. And it goes into touch. Good push there by St Greg's, and you're going to have to stay on their mettle here, James Cook. Any lapse in concentration, and they certainly won't get an even break from St Greg's. Cahill, back to Jason Hardy, the 5'8", running without support and running without any real venom. To Henderson. He looks on the outside, no one there. It's all one-out stuff at the moment. Rare into dummy half. In the centre of the field. A lot of communication, a lot of talk taking place in this defence from St Greg's, and there we see a good strong tackle, forces the error. The front rower comes up with the ball, Jason Tierney, and now they stretch it to the left through Taylor. Taylor onto Threkel. Threkel back in field. McEntee to dummy half. To Taylor. Paul Quinn. They've just got a feeling, they can sense that another try is not that far off. Taylor. Sanderson looking for support. He's got it in the shape of his winger on the far side. That's a try, no doubt about it. John Minnow in the corner for St Greg's. You could sense that this was coming. Look at the jubilation on the faces of the supporters. This try was always coming. A good ball by Taylor. We can see it there out to Smith. Smith in the tackle, on to Sanderson. Sanderson in the headgear. Fought off one defender. Timed his pass particularly well to his winger, John Minnow. Minnow didn't have a lot of room to work in, and that's a good winger's finishing try.
Once again, the combination of Jason Taylor and James Smith. What a combination this has worked out to be. Smith again times the ball perfectly. Sanderson, with his pace, fends off one player, steps inside, draws the... Actually, probably passed a little late in that occasion, but he drew the fullback, and John Minto went over for another try out wide.
Yes, and the St Gregory supporters even produced the wave up there in the grandstand. 17 points to 0 now in favour of St Gregory's College, Campbelltown. No way back for St Gregory's. Jason Taylor's kicked 2 from 2. This is probably his most difficult attempt from the hard side, from around the corner kicker. Gets it up and away, no doubt about it. What a footballer this young man is. 19 points to 0 in favour of St Gregory's College, Campbelltown over James Cook High. Stopping this St Gregory's side. Their forwards run with power and determination. They pull in 2 and 3 defenders each time they go. They've got an attacking dummy half that knows the right way to send the ball, an enterprising set of halves, and plenty of pace out wide to finish it off. All in all, a very complete football team. I think we've got to gauge them by the standard of the side they're playing. So James Cook are a very good side. They're a side that, to have got this far, they must have had plenty going for them. They just haven't been able to produce the goods on the night. Down the short side now, that's the number 12 for St Gregory's College, Paul Quinn. The referee finds a forward pass. We'll have a scrum 10 metres out. James Cook defeated. There's the forward pass. Found by the referee. The ball went forward. And this is the result. Luca defeat. Good push by St Gregs. Couldn't come up with one against the head. Luca ran wide from the scrum.
Well, James Cook, we've got to start taking a few risks. It's no good running from dummy half, just basically eating up time. They've got to start moving the ball about, taking some risks out wide. That was a bad pass then, but the idea was right, but the execution was poor in that case.
Wayne, I think what's got to happen here is that the experienced players, and I'm looking at Ron Williams in the centre playing under 21s for St George, Steve Henderson playing 21s for St George, they're the fellows that have just got to try to produce a brilliant individual effort. They've got to try and do something on their own rather than pass off and try to put someone else into space. They've just got to make space for themselves.
Or at the very least, Bill, they've got to show direction, and that's really what's lacking out there at the moment. And we see that a change is imminent for St Gregory's. On the sideline there we have number 16, John Woodman, is looming up on the sideline, and we have some news that he'll be replacing number 10 for St Gregory's, Brent Smith. Obviously, Brent Smith has earned an early shower.
Yes, well, Woodman, I'm sure, getting an opportunity in a competition like this. I think you need to give experience to your reserves because you never know when you're going to need them in a desperate situation, whether it be an injury or a loss of form by a player. So Woodman gets his chance at the expense of someone that's played very well, I believe, on the night. Number 10 there for Brent Smith for St Gregs. There's a lack of organisation. Finally, the kick comes down towards Russell Wire again, and look out.
As we said again, Bill, the poor kicking game straight down Russell Wire's throat. He puts himself in a good position to catch it on the full, but still it was a poor kicking game. And it enables St Gregory's to run the ball 30 or 40 metres back upfield.
Yes, Wire got the pass back to Taylor. It was a sloppy one. The ball now goes on to the number 2, Middo. The winger, Middo, pulled down just short of the line. St Gregory's launching yet another raid. Another assault on this James Cook try line. A big back line spread to the left. McEntee takes off from dummy half. That was a wasted tackle. This time it's Sanderson. Sanderson to Bell. Bell onto Taylor. Taylor looked back inside. I thought that the player might have been held. The referee did too. He's played the advantage. Number 4 this time. That's Grosvenor. And Grosvenor held just out from the James Cook line. McEntee to dummy half again. There's the penalty. The referee had called held. Played the advantage as long as was humanly possible. Then finally awarded the penalty. Alex Cahill told, "I'll referee the game, son. You play."
And Jason Taylor electing to kick for goal to add an extra 2 points. I thought he might take the tap and have some practice at attacking the line because there's no real need for another 2 points at this stage. 19 points to 0. They've got this match virtually sealed up.
Yes, a couple of changes now for the St Gregory side. Mark Hogan onto the field. He joins John Woodman, who's already been put on as a replacement. Jason Taylor measures this off. The way he's been kicking, you could hardly imagine him missing it. 19 points to 0. There's the kick. The scoreline now moves along to 21 points to 0 in favour of St Gregory's College, Campbelltown, over James Cook from Cogman. Cook's side, that looks like their front rower, Richard Nagy from here. He's been replaced by Sash Tirakovsky, I believe. They haven't relented all night, Wayne, that the St Greg's boys, you'd think now with this scoreline, a lead of 21 points to 0, that they might, it's very difficult at times to be grim in defence when it's not necessary, and it's not necessary for them here, but they're continuing to go up as a line and to make those tackles.
Well, in a word, they're hungry. They seem a lot hungrier than James Cook, and they're also a lot more confident. And those two factors put together, I suppose, explain the scoreline of 21 points to 0 with still 10 minutes remaining.
What's happening at the moment isn't quite working. As I talk, there's the kick over the top and 6 to go. A little bit more enterprise there from James Cook. They get the ball down towards halfway. Hardy, the 5'8", takes it forward. Henderson's in at dummy half. He's got an option now either side. Luca onto Lakudis. He comes to a halt. Sash Tirakovsky stands in the tackle but can't get his arms free. Henderson back to Luca. Luca kicks towards the far side. Well fielded there at first, but he couldn't quite come down with the ball. John Minto, I thought he had it. He took it above his head, but as he hit the ground, the ball jolted loose, and so now we'll have a scrum with James Cook to feed. There's the kick by Luca. Minto jumped up for it, put his hands up, took it there, and as he hit the ground, the ball came loose. One
of the few errors that John Minto has made tonight. He's had plenty of work. There's been plenty of action on that side of the field, both in attack and defence, and it was a desperate attempt to catch it, but at least he made an attempt. It didn't go out without him making an effort for the ball.
There's the scrum penalty to James Cook for some Gregs collapsing the scrum. I'm sure they won't kick for goal. They'll be trying to register a 4-pointer if they can. Henderson goes forward without support. Now he gets the pass back to Williams. And Williams dragged down.
Well, Con Mealas has certainly been involved in the action since he's got on there on the field, and I think that enthusiasm may rub off on some of his teammates in the dying moments.
Well, he's a big player and a big fellow, and he's just got to keep going forward and drag defence in. James Cook throw another attack at the St Greg's line, but without success. This time Henderson launches himself at the line. He's oh so close, but not there. The last tackle, what can they do? Mealas at dummy half. Will he push on his own? Ball goes out. Here's an opportunity. Oh, an opportunity goes begging for James Cook with a forward pass. Tony Luca only had to take that ball and he'd have been home. St Greg's defence for the first time tonight faltered. James Cook had the numbers, but the pass couldn't quite go to hand. And now St Greg's once again do all the hard work out of their own quarter.
Well, it is hard work coming out of your own quarter, but they're making good yardage against a tired James Cook side. There's a lot of changes to both sides, so the defensive patterns appear to be upset somewhat, but still they're plugging away. St Gregory's plugging away out of their own territory, James Cook plugging away in attack, and it'd be nice to see James Cook get some points on the board because they really have tried hard tonight.
Well, St Greg's there took the ball forward for a couple of tackles, then looked to hit their back line, and once again it was that pattern we've seen. Taylor with the option of spreading the ball or kicking, put his boot to it, and now St Greg's with a chance, possibly the last hurrah for James Cook here to post points. They play the ball just inside the St Greg's quarter. Rare to dummy half through Henderson. Henderson onto the newcomer on the field, Sash Tirakovsky. And once again, we take this opportunity to thank the Commonwealth Bank for their involvement in this competition. Not only the Commonwealth Bank Cup, where they do such a great job, some 200 schools this year involved in the Commonwealth Bank Cup, but the Commonwealth Bank Cup, they've got feelers in all schoolboy sport right throughout Australia. Rugby league, soccer, rugby union, all sports throughout Australia. And we thank them for their continued sponsorship of this competition.
We'll have a look here and see if in fact the ball, yes, the ball is going to be moved around. St Gregory's have not given up hope of putting more points on the board.
As Sanderson makes a breakdown field, that was touched by a James Cook player. He's offside. The referee has seen fit to let that one pass. James Cook now, that was a good break by Sanderson. He tried to get the pass over the top to his winger, Thrakel. The ball was touched by James Cook, and they stopped an enterprising move as they now bring the ball out towards halfway. Rare onto Henderson. Henderson with Mealas on his hit. Mealas gets it back to Henderson. Henderson kicks the ball ahead off the boot of a St Gregory's player, and they'll play it just on their own side of halfway. That was Barry McIntyre. Minto out of dummy half, beats a tackle. Now he's grasped. Here's the pattern up through the forwards. This time it's the number 11, Joe Matthews. McIntyre to dummy half, to Taylor, all the time in the world. Back onto Grosvenor. Grosvenor off the left foot, back in field, beats one tackle. Couldn't quite hold his balance as he slips there and now plays the ball back to Bell. Bell skirts wide, beating the markers, now picks up the support. had support there. The ball went forward, and James Cook now tidy it up out of their own quarter. And another change for St Greg's College. Matthew Van Tempest takes the place of Jason Tierney. And for James Cook, number 16, Jimmy Yatham, replacing George Stavankovic, as James Cook take the quick tap through Lacoulis.
An interesting statistic to come out of this game, Billy, is that the fact that there's only been 6 penalties in the entire match, and St Gregory's are favoured by the penalties by 4-2, but 6 penalties in a match of this standard is a remarkable show of discipline.
It's a game that's going to flow, isn't it?
It is. It's an entertaining game, and some big hits there. That was
great tackle there by Sanderson. He led with the shoulder, drove with a tremendous leg drive, and he really pushed Ron Williams backwards.
And he follows it up with another tackle. That's a sign of a keen, enthusiastic player with only 4 minutes left on the clock.
Williams puts it ahead off the left foot, tidied up by Taylor. Taylor goes off the right, but he's pulled down by Williams. Van Tempest, Matthew Van Tempest to dummy half, back to McEntee. I'd say Van Tempest has gone to hooker and McEntee to the front row to replace Tierney. Taylor now one off the ruck, where he can use his ball skills. Gets wide. Oh, that's good play there out to Bell. Bell shows a clean pair of heels, beats a tackle. He's got support on the outside and on the inside. Looks back on the inside. That's the option he took. And there's a try to the number 18, Matthew Frickell. A good team try. That's a gem. As good a team try as you'd ever want to see. Taylor started and he pushed the ball out wide to Frickell. Frickell onto his halfback, Bell. Bell made the break there, beat a tackle. He looked on the outside. He had support there. He also had support back on the inside through Frickell. He took that option and Frickell plants it down under the black dot.
Well, from broken play, Jason Taylor once again dictates terms. He's positioned his backs well all night and does so here again. Gavin Bell backing up, shows a clean pair of heels. There's a little in and away there from the winger. As you said, Billy, he had support inside and outside. Elected to give the ball inside to Matthew Frickell, who goes over unopposed underneath the uprights.
And Matthew Taylor with his easiest kick of the night, no doubt about it. There's your scoreline. St Gregory's College 27 lead James Cook High from Cogra 0. St Greg's have done it all tonight. They've shown that they are a class outfit, one to be feared in this competition. James Cook just couldn't get into this game. They didn't get the breaks. It wasn't their night. Wayne, I suppose disappointment for James Cook, but they just came up against a side tonight that was too good for them.
They have. They've come up against a side that is strong in the forwards, pacey out wide, and very constructive. They've scored 4 tries tonight, 4 very good tries. They weren't tries that were scored by barging over from dummy half. They were the result of good, constructive teamwork. And I suppose the dictator, well, as a break's been made once more by St Gregory's.
Yes, and again, St Gregory's pushed the ball out wide. No trouble getting around that James Cook defence, and they make good inroads. I suppose it's a long way from Parramatta to Wigan, but this is a Wembley performance by Wigan, isn't it? A 27 points to 0 scoreline, and it's almost as convincing as that Challenge Cup final.
It is, and Sean Ebb was one of the keys at 5'8" for St Gregory's, and if he's as good a player or as dominant in a game as Jason Taylor has been tonight for St Gregory's, then I think he'll certainly lift our performance at Balmain in the coming weeks.
He might have to give up the ball playing. 4 minutes to go. 27 points to 0 in favour of St Gregory's College over James Cook. I'm sorry, 4 seconds to go. Commonwealth Bank Cup quarter-final. St Gregory's College have run out victorious. 27 points to 0 over James Cook in an outstanding performance. Now, next week, we're going to see Patrician Brothers Fairfield taking on Holy Cross College of Ryde. And, of course, the quarterfinals indicates that now is the time for us to commence voting in our Player of the Series award. Our $1,000 worth of leisure wear and playing product from Adidas. The voting tonight went this way. 1 point went to James Smith, 2 points to Russell Wire, and 3 points, and our Man of the Match award tonight to Jason Taylor. An outstanding performance by Jason Taylor. Wayne, I'm sure you would agree, 3 players there with plenty of ability.
Plenty of ability, but there was a lot of other good performances in the side as well, Billy. And to pick 3 guys above the other guys is a difficult task, but I don't think you can go past Jason Taylor as the man of the match.
And the St Gregory's players go over to thank their supporters for their effort. That's all we have tonight from the Parramatta Stadium. Until next week, may I have the pleasure of your company. Then this is Bill Anderson on behalf of Wayne Pearce and all the rest of the 10 Sports Action team.
Put a laugh into your Saturday nights here on 10. Daryl, Marie and Marty are next in the Early Bird Show.